I'm Mara, a 29-year-old data analyst from Columbus, Ohio, who thought I'd finally found my happily ever after. Picture this, a cozy family dinner at my fiancé's parents' house, the kind with mismatched plates and the smell of roasted chicken lingering in the air. We just set our wedding date, and both our families were there, laughing, clinking glasses, celebrating our future. I was nervous but hopeful, trying to make a good impression on my soon-to-be in-laws. Then, out of nowhere, my world turned upside down. "You stole my purse, Mara. It was in your bag." My sister-in-law Lydia stood in the middle of the dining room, her voice sharp as a knife, holding up a sleek leather purse like it was evidence in a courtroom. Every head turned. My mom, my sister Jane, Asher's parents, even the cousins I'd just met. My stomach dropped. The room went silent except for the faint hum of the air conditioner. I felt my cheeks burn as all eyes locked on me, waiting for an explanation I didn't have. "Lydia, I didn't." I started, but she cut me off, her manicured nails pointing at me like daggers. "Don't lie. I saw it in your bag, you thief. You think you can just waltz into this family and take what's mine?" Her words hit like a slap, and I froze, my mind scrambling. The purse she was waving around was hers. I'd seen it before, slung over her shoulder at lunches she never paid for. But I swear on everything, I didn't touch it. I didn't even bring a bag to dinner. I was too stunned to speak, my heart pounding as I felt the weight of everyone's stares. Let me back up. I'm not the kind of person who gets into drama like this. Growing up, it was just me, my mom, and my older sister Jane in a small apartment on the east side of Columbus. My dad walked out when I was 6, leaving mom to raise us on a school teacher salary. Money was tight, but we were tight-knit. I learned early to work hard, keep my head down, and avoid trouble. That's how I landed my job at Buckeye Insurance, crunching numbers, and building a life I could be proud of. It's also where I met Asher, my fiancé, who happens to be my supervisor. Asher's different from anyone I've ever known. He's 31 with this quiet strength that makes you feel safe, like he's got everything under control. He grew up in a working-class family. His dad's a mechanic, his mom's a nurse, and he's got this grounded way about him. When we started dating, it wasn't just sparks, it was trust built over late-night talks about our dreams and fears. He saw me, really saw me. And when he proposed under a big oak tree in a park near her office, I felt like I'd finally found my place in the world. But Lydia, she's Asher's older sister. And from the moment I met her, I knew she was trouble. She's 35 with this larger-than-L life presence, always dressed to impress with bold lipstick and a laugh that demands attention. Asher warned me she could be a lot, but I didn't realize how much until she started texting me after we got engaged. She'd suggest lunch at trendy spots downtown, then conveniently forget her wallet or claim she was short on cash. I paid every time, thinking I was being nice, trying to bond with my future sister-in-law. But the bills added up, and she never paid me back. Not once. That night at the dinner, as Lydia stood there accusing me, I felt like I was in a nightmare. My mom's face was pale, her hands gripping the table. Jane, who uses a wheelchair because of a spinal injury from when she was a kid, looked at me with this quiet strength, like she knew I was innocent. Asha reached for my hand under the table, his grip steady, but I could see the anger in his eyes. Lydia was relentless, her voice rising as she ranted about lawsuits and how I wasn't good enough for her brother. I wanted to disappear, to run out of that house and never look back. But something inside me shifted. I wasn't going to let her tear me down. "Lydia," I said, my voice shaky but firm. "That's not my bag." And then, to everyone's shock, I started to laugh. It wasn't funny, not really. But the absurdity of her accusation hit me like a wave. The purse wasn't mine, it was Jane's, and Jane, who hadn't moved from her seat all night, couldn't have stolen anything if she tried. Looking back, I should have seen the red flags with Lydia sooner, but I was too caught up in the glow of my engagement to notice. Asher and I had been together for 2 years, and our love felt like the kind you read about in books, the kind that makes you believe in second chances. After my dad left, I spent years building walls around my heart, scared of being abandoned again. But Asher, he was patient, chipping away at those walls with his steady kindness. We'd stay late at the office, talking about everything from spreadsheets to our favorite dive bars in Columbus. When he proposed, I felt like I was finally home. Telling my family was the easy part. My mom, who'd spent her life grading papers and raising me and Jane, cried happy tears when I showed her the ring. Jane, my rock, was there too, her eyes sparkling as she hugged Asher. "You better take care of my little sister," she said, her voice warm but firm. Jane's always been my protector, even though she's the one who's faced the real battles. Her spinal injury happened when she was 10 after a car accident that changed everything. She's a graphic designer now, working from home, turning her sketches into art that lights up the internet. Her strength inspires me every day, and having her blessing meant the world. Telling Asher's family was a different story. I'd met his parents before, a sweet couple who welcomed me with open arms at their modest ranch-style house in a Columbus suburb. His dad, a mechanic with grease-stained hands, had this quiet pride when he talked about Asher's rise at the insurance company. His mom, a nurse, fussed over me like I was already family, offering me seconds of her famous peach cobbler. But Lydia wasn't there that first visit, and Asher seemed relieved. "She's complicated," he'd said, his jaw tight. "She's got a big personality, and sometimes she's jealous of what I've built. Just be careful, okay? I didn't get it then. I figured, how bad could she be? She was going to be my sister-in-law, and I wanted us to get along. Growing up without a dad taught me family is what you make of it, and I was determined to fit into Asher's." So when Lydia finally showed up one evening, bursting through the front door with a loud, "I'm home," I put on my best smile. She was striking, tall with perfect curls and a designer jacket that screamed money she didn't seem to have. "So, you're Mara?" she said, her eyes scanning me like I was a job applicant. "Where do you meet Asher? What do you do? You look like you make good money." Her questions caught me off guard, and Asher stepped in, his voice sharp. "Lydia, ease up. It's her first time meeting you." But she just smirked, ignoring him, and asked for my number. "We're going to be sisters-in-law, right? We should hang out." I hesitated, but gave it to her. I didn't want to start off on the wrong foot. Looking back, that was my first mistake. Soon, Lydia was texting me nonstop, suggesting lunch at fancy bistro near offices. I drive over, excited to bond, only to hear her say, "Oh shoot, I forgot my wallet. Can you cover me? I'll get you next time." Next time never came. Once she claimed she was short on change and promised to Venmo me later. Spoiler, she didn't. I started to dread her texts, but I kept going, hoping she'd warm up to me. After all, she was Asher's sister. I wanted to believe she'd come around. As the weeks went by, Lydia's lunch invitations became a pattern I couldn't ignore. Every time we met at some trendy spot in downtown Columbus. Think overpriced salads and artisanal coffee, she'd pull the same stunt. "Mara, I'm so sorry. I left my card at home," she'd say, batting her eyes while sipping her latte. Or, "I'm a little tight this week. Can you spot me?" I'd nod, forcing a smile and pay the bill, telling myself it was just lunch, no big deal. But those lunches added up, draining my budget more than I wanted to admit. I'd grown up watching my mom stretch every dollar. So, every unpaid tab felt like a betrayal. I started to see Lydia for who she was. She wasn't just forgetful, she was calculated. Her texts were always cheerful, full of emojis, but there was this edge to her, like she was testing me. One day, after I'd paid for yet another meal, I worked up the nerve to ask, "Hey, Lydia, can you send me the money for last week's lunch?" Her laugh was sharp, like I told a joke. "Oh, come on, Mara. It's just a few bucks. We're family, right? Don't sweat the small stuff." Her words stung like I was the one being unreasonable. I stopped responding to her texts as often, making excuses to skip lunch. But the unease in my gut grew. Then came the day that changed everything. I was leaving the office with Asher, our hands intertwined, talking about wedding venues. We were laughing about some cheesy barn reception idea when I heard her voice. "Mara." Lydia was leaning against the streetlight outside our building, her arms crossed, a fake smile plastered on her face. "Leaving work with your man, huh? Must be nice." Her tone was dripping with sarcasm, and Asher's face darkened. "What do you want, Lydia?" he asked, his voice low. She ignored him, turning to me. "I've got dinner plans with friends tonight, but I'm a little short." "Mara, can you lend me a few bucks? I'll pay you back, promise." Her eyes were wide, almost desperate, But I'd heard that promise before. No, Lydia, I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice was. You haven't paid me back for any of the lunches. I can't keep doing this. Her face twisted like I'd insulted her. Wow, so cold. We're supposed to be family, Mara. Families help each other out. Besides, you make good money, don't you? Working with Asher and all. She said it like she knew my paycheck, which she didn't.